Are you stressing about taking the end of course exams, or maybe just taking any exam in general? This video is going to help you improve your test taking skills, improve your reading comprehension while you are taking that test, and make sure that you are preparing in the most efficient way possible. So first off, reading comprehension. This is very common. It's something that almost everyone struggles with, even people who are good readers. If you are reading something on a test, occasionally you will find that you don't really know what they're asking for. So here are some tips to make sure that you understand the question. So one, read the material to yourself out loud if possible. Now, if you're in a group of people, you may not be able to do that, okay? Eliminate distractions, meaning don't have on the TV, don't be on the phone, don't look at your phone. The no music kind of depends. For me, the right type of music actually helps me focus a lot more, okay? So you could do that, just don't pick anything that you find yourself listening to the music more than you do reading the question. Take notes. Oh, I have white noise on there. So if possible, white noise machines actually can work really well because it drowns out all the background noise. Take notes while you read. Occasionally read back through your notes to kind of make sure that they make sense. Ask yourself questions when you're reading, like say you have a reading passage on a test. Like ask yourself, well, what are they saying here? And try and like reword it in your own words as you go. And then reread. You may have to reread a question 2 or 3 times to really make sense of it, and that is totally fine. So now preparing for the test, these are some study skills. Make flashcards for yourself if it is something that you can make flashcards for, okay? Flashcards are scientifically proven to be the best way to memorize something, okay? And I have this little acronym. This is SAFMEDS. This is a specific way to use flashcards that was developed by some researchers that works really well. So SAFMEDS stands for Say All Fast Minute Every Day Shuffled. Okay, so that means that you should make yourself some cards and you say them, you quiz yourself with those cards as fast as you can, so about a minute, and you do it every single day. You always make sure they're shuffled, okay, so that you're not memorizing the order, you're actually memorizing the stuff, okay? Now, when you first start doing this, you're going to get a lot of them wrong, but if you do actually do it every day, this is very effective, okay? Handwrite all your notes. I know you're thinking, Mrs. Leader, write with my hand. That's what computers are for. But seriously, there have been a lot of studies that have shown that when you are taking notes, you are much more likely to retain it that first time when you write it down than if you type it on a computer. Okay, so if you have the ability, handwrite your notes. And always put things in your own words. Don't just verbatim like write down what the teacher says, okay? Because putting it in your own words is like another way to like really encode that information into your brain. Use guided notes if possible. So some teachers will give you guided notes that go along with what you're reading in the textbook. If you have that option, do that. If not, just jot down notes to yourself while you are reading or watching a live lesson. So before you take the test, so this is getting down to it is test day today or it is test day tomorrow, okay? So when you are in the test, make sure that when you get started, take a few deep breaths and just kind of like be like, okay, I'm ready for this, all right? Get a good night's sleep. So that's something that you got to do the night before. Do not stay up all night studying. Do not stay up all night stressing about it. Just say, you know what? I've done everything I can at this point. It's time to go to bed. Okay, so get a good night's sleep. Don't start a test on an empty stomach, so please make sure you eat a good breakfast. And if you're taking multiple tests in a day at the EOCs, bring a snack so that your second test, you're not sitting there thinking about your stomach as opposed to your test. And make sure you just have all your materials ready to go. Now for the EOCs at OCA, you don't really need to bring any materials. We provide everything to you. But if you are taking a different type of test that you need materials for, make sure you're prepared before you get in there. So here are some actual strategies, okay? So first off, Read the entire question and all possible answers before you answer the test, before you answer the question, okay? If you are having a hard time with the question, like let's say you read the question like 2 or 3 times and you still just really don't know, skip it and come back to it later. I know on the end of course test, it is a computer-based test, but you can actually flag questions so that you know to come back and check them later, okay? And if you're doing a paper test, you can always do that real easy, okay? And read the question out loud to yourself if possible. Now, if you are in a room, that might not be possible. Now, on the end of course tests, you have the option to, we will provide you earbuds and you can have the question read to you. It's like a text to speech option. You can have that on all the tests except for ELA unless you have a specific accommodation in your IEP for it. Okay, so you can't for the ELA, but all the other subjects you can have the text to speech, and that's available to everybody. Okay. This little acronym, this RELAX, is very, very good. Okay, so it says read the question carefully and then reread the passage or the problem. E is examine every answer choice before you choose. L, label your answer. So you might label, like if it's a word problem, you could like label parts of it so you know how the numbers to go and make the equation. Underline proof if it's like a reading passage, if you have the capability. On the computer, a lot of times you can highlight things. Okay, so you can do that even though you can't write on the computer. A, always check your work, and then, you know, just make sure, okay, I wanted A, make sure I actually checked A, and then X out any answers that you know are wrong. Okay, so maybe if it's not a paper test and it's a computer test, you could highlight the ones that are wrong, or something, okay? Or you'll always have scratch paper. You could write A, B, C, D, and then cross them out on that little piece of paper as you go too, okay? This is a really good step-by-step for how to answer a multiple choice question. Okay, so this has a little chart here. So number 1, read the question. We've said that a bunch of times. I think you guys kind of know that. 2, think of your answer before you look at the possible answers. Okay, so the question is 2 + 2 equals, and you're thinking, okay, I think that's 4. Now I'm going to go through and read all the answers. Okay. And so then you read all the choices and you say, okay, well, I'm pretty positive this is 4, and I know it's not 8, and I know it's not 6, and I know it's not 1. And look, there's 4. Okay. And if you really don't know, make an educated guess. Okay. So eliminate, let's say you got it narrowed down to 2 answers and you're not totally sure. Pick the one that you think is closest, or pick the one that you think is most likely. Okay. And always go with your gut. Once you have made a decision, unless you are 100% sure that it was wrong, do not go back and change it. Okay, the only reason why you should go back and change an answer is if you can actually find the answer to that question on a later test question, which does happen sometimes. You know, one question might be about federalism, and then 6 questions later, they give you the definition of federalism in that question. If they do that, and then you're like, oh, I answered wrong before, you can go back and change it. That is such a gift when that happens. So don't pass that up.